Welcome, everyone. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Executive Director for Humanities Team, and I'm super excited to be here with you for this 90-minute video series called The Secret Power of Human Vision. Discover the transformative art of deeply seeing and appreciating the world around you. This free program is with world-renowned spiritual teacher, Dr. Sister Jenna. As I mentioned, this is a 90-minute program with a 30-minute live Q&A at the end, so be sure to make note of questions that you have. This program with Sister Jenna is called What We Have in Karma, the power of seeing the world and everything in it as one big organic and balanced whole. And thanks so much for joining us. We've got a really powerful program in store for you. As we get started, I'm going to give Sister Jenna a proper introduction. Dr. Sister Jenna is a spiritual leader, author, radio host, and renowned public speaker. She hosts a popular, globally syndicated radio show called America Meditating and writes for Huffington Post, Positively Positive, Global Thrive, and the Good Men Project. The Empowering a Billion Woman organization named her one of the 100 most influential leaders in the world, and she's traveled to over 80 countries where she continues to provide practical life tools and empowering solutions to local and global problems, as well as spearheading a variety of initiatives for youth, women, governments, and communities, both in the United States and abroad. She is the founder of the Meditation Museums in Washington, D.C., and has been the recipient of numerous awards, including the President's Lifetime National Community Service Award. And welcome to the program here, Sister Jenna.
Thank you, Steve. Every time I hear those bios, I just say, no, that's not me. I'm just processing this existence and trying to show up with my best self. Sometimes I do well, sometimes I could do better, but I'm glad to be here with you.
Oh, you're wonderful. Yeah, no, it's truly, as we were sharing before we started the program, truly wonderful to be here with you. Your wisdom and awe and wonder energy are always astounding. So it's wonderful to be here with you. And we've got a lot we're going to cover here during this program, so I'll just jump right in. Now, I want to share with viewers that before we get into the program with Sister Jenna, I want to let you know that near the end of this program, we're going to tell you about a brand new 8-week masterclass that we've been working on for over a year, actually about a year and a half. And I will share how to bring back more awe and wonder in your life. This program shares how to do that. It's truly a life-changing opportunity, so be sure to stay tuned. Now, let's jump in with Sister Jenna and get to the exciting topics that we've planned for you during the hour, the first 60 minutes. Sister Jenna, as we get started, can you share how you describe the subtle and not so subtle forms of karma and how people can generate more positive karma in the way they look at the world during their day-to-day life?
That's quite huge, Steve. And I don't even know if we have 60 minutes to cover that. So I tend to try to be as essential as I can be, as I can possibly be. On the subtle dimensions of karma, it's so important for us to be able to identify the intention behind the choice we're about to make. So in Hindi, the word karma comes up all the time, but in English, it's broken down to basically actions. So what are the intentions behind our day-to-day actions? And it could be something as simple as washing of a dish. It could be the way you comb your hair. It could be the way you drive your car. It could be the way you speak to someone who you don't trust. It could be the way you take care of your dog, your puppy, if they're misbehaving. Is there a thought vibration in you, an intention to create harm rather than to teach the animal or something how to sit or how to eat or how not to do something? So the subtle dimensions of karma, which I think is so important for all of us to understand, is that we must find a way to start to practice being attentive to the thoughts that we're having on a regular basis. Why am I thinking what I'm thinking is the subtle dimensions of karma. Before it comes into an act, because when it comes into an act, it's like a boomerang. It feeds back to me not only the intention behind the choice or the action that I've performed, but it stays lodged in the soul for a very long time as an energy. And if that energy of that experience was connected to my original nature, which is love and peace and purity and truth and joy, that's astounding karma. That's the karma of awe. That's the wonder. Like, wow, you know? I've sometimes chuckled at individuals who fall into an absolute lottery of wealth, and they just woke up one day and the wealth of lottery was upon them. That was like the awe. So imagine when I'm paying attention to my thoughts behind the words that I speak, the way that I see someone, again, the way that I wash a dish, if it's done in peace and in respect, coming from my own nature, then that's going to give me a sense of awe too and wonder that I'm so free inside, um, that I'm enough, and that wherever my destiny or my karma takes me, I belong there. And the tribe that I might have seeked when my karmas were very limited, my tribe now becomes the whole world where we all become one because I'm okay inside. Now, the physical representation is that sometimes things are happening to us and we don't particularly feel that we deserve it. And it could be good and it could be not so good. And that's all because of the intention way back before, way back in the past, in which I wasn't aware of what I did or why I did something. It might have been very short termed. And I find myself living out a reality that I'm not so comfortable with, or maybe I'm super excited about. And all of that is coming because of the intention behind the act, the thought form behind the action. Simple example. I can speak to you from a place of peace and purity right now. And I believe that that's my awe of karma. Or I can speak from all the accolades that you've read out to me, and I might let you know, look, that's not even half of what I've done, let me tell you. That's two different karmas. And it's still living out on the planet and it's vibrating as an energy. But the subtle one reveals the content of the character of the person more than anything else, because it carries itself a vibration around the person, a perception and energy around the person. And we're actually communicating more with each other based on an energy rather than just a physical image. That's a that's a result. How I look, how I dress, what religion I choose, who I choose to marry, the kids that I have, the job that I seek. That's all a result of the subtle karma that I've participated in, known or unknown to me. So all of that energy lives deep inside of the self, Steve, and to everyone. And I really ask you to find a routine that you can pay more attention to. Why am I doing this? Is this connected to my divinity as a person, which is an absolutely unlimited individual? Or is this based on my titles and my roles, or something short-termed, or something selfish or self-serving? Then we'll see the return of that karmically, where there's sometimes temporary happiness, but also a lot of obstacles and challenges that comes with that as well. So that's my spin on that.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Sister Jenna. Okay, let me go then to my next question here. I want to ask you, how can you hold the awareness of our foundational oneness in your conscious mind at all times, even when faced with difficult challenges or painful circumstances?
I think the big part of that question is the word. It's that little part you said, all times. I'm working on that. I'm working on the all time or on the always. I'm not successful at all. But I'll tell you what I use, everyone. I use the knowledge of the awareness that we're all souls, and that as a living soul, that energy of light that's behind our eyes is holding a lot of stories from the past, the stories that it's creating at the present moment, and even the story of the vision that's pulling us into our future. It's all saved. It's like a file in your computer, and it's sitting in there. If we relate to each other just based on the stories, we are going to run into conflicts. We're not going to feel that we're one with each other. We're not going to feel safe. We might not feel belonging or enough because our competition or our test will come to see if one of the labels or the attachments that I have to my gender, role, or title or religion, that I try to prove to you that it's so much better than yours. And I can see what's happening in the world today. Everyone's trying to prove they're better than the next person, and they will stop at nothing to put someone else down to be somebody up there. So, what I've used is to go back to the reference that I know that we're all souls, immortal, eternal, imperishable energies, and the original religion of every living soul on the planet is peace, purity, and love. And what helps me to try to help my all the time, Steve, and everyone out there, to help me to keep collaborating and mixing with everyone on the planet is to remember that one fundamental universal principle. We are all souls, and every single one of us have the original religion recorded in the soul of peace, love, and purity. And even if I'm not coming from that place, and even if you're not coming from that place, having that fundamental awareness keeps me in check majority of the time.
Yes, it does. Yeah, wow, lots of wisdom there. Uh, and I can the things that you talk about, I can see in the world. But isn't it funny that our invitation is really to be more the emissary of from where we've come, that love and light and grace and peace. And that's where we really, this awe and wonder finds residence in us, where we can be that and not pay attention to the worldly, I'm going to be better than you, or I'm better than my resume, or the things that you just talked about. Thank you for bringing that in. Beautiful.
Which is not always so easy for us, because from the moment we've been born, we've been given the physical identity and we've forgotten the content of the character. And being in Washington, D.C., where there's a lot going on over here, I mean, you could feel it in the vibrations of your home. It's just a lot. I watch the games of everybody, and they're playing this game of this awful, awful chess game that if one side doesn't win, then they feel that everybody has to be destroyed. I mean, it just feels that way. And yet I see another way of doing this. I see that there's a way that we can peacefully collaborate by accepting that our stories are different, but why don't you give me 5 years of this idea, and then it's okay, you take your 4 years and I'll support. It just seems so much easier to collaborate and to cooperate rather than to lie and cheat and deceive. But again, it's because of the attachment to the stories that's allowing that narrative and that karma. We're even in awe of karma, of what's going on in the world right now. And I don't know if it's a wonder, but it is definitely something. That's for sure.
Well, I am so glad you're based there in Washington, D.C. The Capitol Hill and the Washington, D.C. area need these things you're talking about. So beautiful. Okay, I'm going to now bring another question to you here. And this one is, how do you interact with others and everything that you encounter in the world in a way that allows you to see and feel the deeper connective thread that ties us all together?
After traveling to 95 countries, we're not different. Nobody's different. The language is different. The food is different. Maybe the dress is different. The features are different. Everybody at a soul level, they're the same. So what has kept me a little bit pretty clear on how to keep each other in check is the fact that I know that what I need and want are two different things. What I need is love and respect, and I know you need love and respect. And so I try to have this relationship as much as I can with individuals. It's easy for folks who get along with you. But I particularly like this practice with individuals who don't like the way I dress. Maybe they don't care for my wonderful tan. You know, maybe they don't, maybe they don't care for where I come from. And that's when I realize the practice of knowing that every soul needs love and respect to sustain themselves. And if I can continue to come from that place and offer that in my relationships, they will last a very long time. And I've seen that it has happened in my own experience. Any relationship that hasn't worked for me, Steve, it's because at the moment of our interaction, I wasn't in a place of virtues. And that cracked something in their spirit. That that broke their love that they had within themselves and extended to me. And that has put their love for me on pause, waiting for something to heal it. And I can try as much as I can to make amends, but sometimes it just needs time. And I think with even what America's going through right now, it's going to need a lot of time to also heal. But if we get to that point of a spiritual awakening, which means to recognize that what you need and what I need is love and respect, and we practice that as much as we can, then our healing will be very, very quick.
Yes, it will, and our lives will certainly be more joyful, and um, yeah, we'll feel the fruit of life where we do that. I'm not bringing this in because I want to try and go off on a tangent, but related to this, this is why I left Silicon Valley, where I was living the American dream with all of the the luxurious living that goes with that. It's just a mirage. You just pointed out. You think you see this beautiful thing, and you get there, and it's not there, and then you think, oh, it's out there on the horizon. Just keep walking, 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 and you never get there. Whereas what you're describing, which is where we get in touch with our true essence and where we live from that place, then it's right here, right now, and we can. It's no mirage, and we can drink from that water. Um, so I'm with you. Let me throw you the next question here. So, can you share how do you use the implications of our oneness to improve your station and your experience in life?
I've thought about that question. That's a tricky one. One, maybe a personal life mantra that I lived by is to accept that each soul is an actor playing their own individual part. And I just ask you to pause and give that some nurturing a little bit. Each soul is an actor playing their own individual part on this global stage. And what that does for me, it makes me sort of not take a lot of the experiences or stories so personal that it complicates my interpretation, not only of myself, but of the other person, or even of the situation that I'm encountering. And so each time I use that one mantra, Steve, it has saved me a million times over. So that's why many times I won't even ask people for forgiveness. I just look at it, but that's the part they had to play. Because if they knew better, wouldn't they have done it differently? Wouldn't they have said it differently? Wouldn't they have thought of my heart before they said what they said? So I think the implications are coming because we don't accept that each 7.2 billion of us have come here with a special part on this world stage to play out. And that's what makes us so dynamic. Our leader in Washington, D.C. at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, he's playing the perfect part. The individual up the road from my house who runs a very large delivery service in the country, they're playing their part. Sister Jen is playing her part. Steve Farrell is playing his part. Everyone listening to this webinar, you're playing a part that has been gifted to you. And sometimes you're not always, the hero that saves everyone. But I fully feel at the end of the story, we'll all become heroes because we're going to need to save ourselves. And so, in order for us to really bring this together and to find a way to work through the implications of relationship and to keep our base in check, that's a really important idea to nurture inside of you.
Yes, it is. Um, yes, it is. You could. Um, that's kind of along the lines of this incredible book that was written called How to Win Friends and Influence People. That talks about our basic human nature, that where we take, which was Dale Carnegie, where we sometimes we can get so in our own head, in our own thoughts about the world, and not really understand other people's needs and other people's thoughts and other people's challenges and things. So just getting us outside of that, so we can really, as you mentioned, really to get in the implications of oneness, to really feel into what is going on with other people in the world, because there's a lot going on, and in many cases, there are not only challenges, there's even suffering. And so, yeah, that requires that we get out beyond our skin. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. It's so clear. I was very close with one of the presidents of the World Bank for many years. He, myself, and his wife, we were buddies. And one of the conversations that came to me was, why aren't we eradicating poverty and illiteracy? All the resources are there. And it's because we haven't eradicated illiteracy and poverty of the mind, of the way to be as a character, as a person on the planet, as an individual who believes that they're here to give more than they take, and that spiritual need. And when I say spiritual, Steve, I mean that sense of really knowing that there's such a goodness in you. And you can be very peaceful, you can be very loving, and you can run $1 billion business. You can be very mean and very rough, and you can run $1 billion business. But the vibrations of that and what it does to the planet has a repercussion, and it's karmic. And we do begin to see the awe of karma and wonder, like how we're seeing it now. This is a collective energy building over a long period of time. Why nobody goes to bed at peace, in peace anymore. Everyone's wired. Everyone's like this. And I woke up at 4. I wake up every morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock for my morning routine. And the other day I woke up feeling like my wings are still clipped. I'm not fully flying yet. And I thought about that idea that any self-doubt, any sort of a criticism that I have for someone, if I'm still judging or comparing myself with anyone, or even receiving that energy from other folks, I'm not flying. And I don't know how many of us are flying. We look good on the outside, we drive great cars, we might have beautiful palatial homes, but are we flying? And so that was a very interesting thought that I had in the morning a few days ago. And I just wanted everyone to ask themselves to check, are you flying inside? And that means, are you living in awe and wonder?
Yeah, no kidding. And and just paying attention to, as you mentioned, with all this focus on the exterior world, integral theory and the integral framework has got this beautiful little all quadrants, all levels diagram that says exterior world and interior world, individual and collective. And they point out that most of the focus in today's world is over on the exterior world. It's all the shell. And we often leave our interior world to just get so little attention, which then creates all these things, these dysfunctions that we're talking about. Where by contrast, where we're doing the things that you're talking about, paying attention to karma, our soul, the common soul, these things, there's even the term we use is a boomerang effect, but it's karmic. It's what you're talking about, where we're throwing ourselves out in service, in some authentic way, in the way that we're invited to with our particular contribution, because that's in oneness. We all have this. We have these particular skills or gifts, ways that we can be in service, and when we just throw them out in the world without any expectation, there's this boomerang effect where there's prosperity in its many different forms, including financial, that are coming back to us, which I guess that would be what we're talking about here, this karmic effect. Isn't that right?
Yes, and it's two ways. Let's look at somebody holding the tool of a knife, and that person is holding the knife to steal from someone. And so they use the knife to cut into you, to disempower you, to take your money so they can go and buy a Rolex. I'm just giving an example. And then you have another person holding a knife, cutting very gently into you to remove an illness. It's the same tool, but the consciousness and the intention in why you use that tool determines the result. So even if we're using our lower vibration to get the money, to get the house, to get the car, to get the partner, again, it's so short term, it's so temporary, and the repercussions of it vibrationally, you can see the dismantling of lots of things in the atmosphere. But if you use your tool of karma in a way that if this helps humanity, then I'm going to use it, then you're just going to have on everything. And I want to stress to everyone, having a lot of money, a great partner, great car, great house is good karma. There's nothing wrong with it. And you're not here to downsize in such a way that you live a very simple life and you're like, oh, I'm so spiritual, so I don't have any desires for that. I don't believe in that. I believe that you live your life so purely and so beautifully that you can prove that when you live with love and you live with peace and you live with purity, then abundance finds you too. And that's what we have in common in terms of our karma, that we have an opportunity now to use our tools in such a way that it attracts the best of everything that we deserve. And it doesn't create a negative consequence to humanity. And why I remain hopeful is that I know that we're in a cycle. And in Hinduism, the age that we're in is called Kali Yuga. It's the Iron Age. So that's where all the negativities of consciousness is just fully exposed. But the age after this will be the golden age, which is an age of truth. And that's where we're also seeing individuals like you who tune into this webinar, Steve and his whole team and all of us are knowing that we have to become truthful to ourselves first, because the age after this, where my soul will be entering into, will be an age of truth, and it will not have anything that was an illusion or a deception or distraction. So this is such a beautiful time. And because it's a cycle, we have to remain hopeful, because that means the future is bright. And what's not going into the future is this negative karma, all this stuff that you and I weren't paying attention to, and we're realizing, well, that's in me. I don't want that. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want it in my future. So the awe and wonder of what we have in karma is that we have a choice. How do you intend to live your life? First, focusing on your thoughts and then making your decision.
Yeah, beautiful. And just bringing a lot of what you're bringing in, Sister Jenna, is this whole, what is your heart, the pureness of your heart. You're putting different words around that, but makes me think of this beatitude that was attributed to Jesus, that those with the pure of heart will see God, which is kind of another way of saying a lot of the things you've been saying here during this program. And we don't have to go necessarily live in a shack, though some will be invited to do that. We'll each have our own invitation in terms of what our journey is and our contribution will be and our home will be. Well, let me bring this question to you here. So So this is another big one. So how do you develop your ability to see karma coming before you commit to actions in the world, making it easier to choose productive and restorative actions?
Boy, is that an easy one. By all the times I fail and fall down and get messed up, it teaches you a lot. But what I know now is that it's important that you observe your life to flow in a disciplined format. So I live a very disciplined life. And before, I would never have ever expected me, someone like me, to live a disciplined life at all. And when I look at the word discipline, I look at it, its Latin derivative of disciple means to learn. So my ability to wake up every morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock, doesn't matter where I'm traveling. Every day at 6 o'clock, I'm listening to a spiritual class. Every day at 9 o'clock, I have my breakfast. Every hour on the hour, I pause for what's known in the Brahma Kumaris community, traffic control. So we pause every hour on the hour and we go inwards and check again, where am I? And am I connected to source? And I think that the more you practice having a relationship and a connection to source, not to a religion, you can have your religion, but a connection to the source, to the supreme, which is a vibrational energy of love that is unlimited, and peace that's unlimited, and purity that's unlimited. Steve, you get an idea of how you were made in his image. And you get the first-hand experience of what it's like to gain back your wings, even though it's not always easy to keep your wings flying. Sometimes they get clipped, sometimes they stay extended. But it's the relationship between you, the soul, and the Supreme, and your ability to pull the signals, the silence, the peace and the purity into your remembrance, so that when you speak and when you walk and when you eat, when you make your decisions, you check, does it connect to the energy of that source? And by that practice happening over and over again, you'll gain a lot of conviction, clarity, focus, and power, knowing nothing can happen because you've done it totally from the energy of that remembrance and that experience and that vibration. So I feel that what we need is a lot more of a deepening of our connection and relationship to source. And if that relationship and experience to source is solid, then you will uplift your religion, or if you don't have a religion, you will uplift just your community or your environment, but you'll bring so much light into the world, which is what we need. We keep hearing in the news, Steve, these are dark times. And that's because if all of us are so focused on the negative and the distraction and the hate, then of course our light is being taken away. But if now we're being called to deepen our connection to source, and the more I can have that light illuminate within my personality because I'm feeling it, then it's natural for me to extend that to you when I'm with you in company or making choices or decisions.
Yeah, beautiful. Um, so um, you've actually just in this discussion, you've brought in a number of times, including the time you get up in the morning, some of the things that you do. And you've talked about some of your own daily practice that's talking about how you're coming into that closer connection or communion with source. But are there other things you'd share? Because clearly this is at the heart of your whole practice, your own daily practice, your own spiritual experiences that are setting you up, putting you in place to bring light to the world in all the ways that you describe.
One of the things that I think is really essential for many of us to feed is to practice not giving sorrow to people and not taking it from people. And that's not always easy. It always feels easier that we always say, don't give sorrow, but people ask me, how do I not take sorrow? You will not have the capacity to take sorrow if you've not been giving it. And so I applied that awareness in a lot of my interactions. That's one. The second thing is that I go back to what I said earlier, is I do understand that as souls, we're in need of love and respect. And I know that the world is in need for activation. You're not just going to sit there and be pure and peaceful in a corner up in a mountaintop, oming all day long and the world's going to change. And it can. Sure, if 7.2 billion just sit on a mountaintop and chant Om, there will be world peace. But for us to be very practical, we know that that won't happen. So one of the things that I do is that I look at the current climate and I begin to go to God in remembrance in meditation, especially in the early morning hours. And I sit in silence. And silence for me isn't just an absence of no noise. It's where I'm not allowing any thought forms of waste or negative thoughts to interfere in the frequency that I'm having between me and source. And so I know what's going on in the world, and then I kind of wait to experience what would be the quality, what's the message, what's the temperament, what's needed now to bring this forward. Last year we did a wonderful program called Meditation for Congress. And we went into not only the halls, but at the meditation museums. We held that moment of Congress, and for the first time, there was a positive result between the two parties. And of course, I would love to keep having us do that over and over again. But I think being aware of the need of our world and finding out from the self or from source, what's the virtue that's needed? What's the energy that's lacking? If somebody lies a lot, the energy that's needed to be experienced in that soul is self-respect, is truth, is wisdom. And if that person just doesn't know anything better but to keep lying, then if that soul goes to God and starts to feel the energy of what self-respect feels like and what truth feels like and what love feels like, it will definitely delete this habit or this thought form of lying all the time. So when you look at what's going on in the world, there's so many lies right now. Nobody knows how to discern what is truth from illusion. So that tells me that what the world needs now is a very deep dive and a deep awakening of their relationship between themselves as souls with God, the Supreme Soul, and catching the energy to see what's the best quality virtue thing that I can do right now to help to bring more light to the planet. So one, check yourself on the inside. Two, look at the current climate. Three, listen to source and then bring into action something you'll get as a touching. Something will be told to you. Um, do this like this. Create a group of people that will have these conversations. Sign into the webinar of the Awe and Wonder webinar program. Something will touch you that will say, I'm going to contribute to the continuity and the upliftment of humanity. I'm not going to serve the other part of it. So these things you have to sort of have your own inner dialogue and awareness about, because you can feel it. Something's just not right. I don't care if you're on the left or the right side, your conscience can feel it. Something's not right. And if we don't do something now, then is there a future that's going to be beautiful? So the good thing is what I mentioned earlier, that since we're in a cycle, the golden age is there, the age of truth is coming. So people like us are going to carry the mantle, but we would love to carry the mantle of billions of people with us. I don't want to leave any of my brothers or sisters behind.
Ooh, beautiful. Well, you probably know, Sister Jenna, our mission and humanities team is about accelerating conscious evolution, bringing people tools to do this and creating planetary awakening and creating flourishing. And I think we've done that here so far during this program. Thank you. In fact, let me just share to viewers that we are sending out a link during this program of this. And then a recording link tomorrow with this whole program. so that you can watch it again and again if you haven't taken notes. There's just a lot of wonderful wisdom and beautiful heart energy and personal stories as to how Sister Jenna's doing this. So keep an eye out in your email for a link coming here during today's program, and then tomorrow morning another email that'll come with a link of the recording. So it's really been extraordinary. Thank you, Sister Jenna. What a fabulous conversation, dialogue this has been. So, and now we're going to segue over. I mentioned at the beginning of the program that we're going to take you through an announcement on a 8-week masterclass. It's with Sister Jenna, Matthew Fox, and Patricia Cota Robles. Isn't that a one of a kind, beautiful, interesting, powerful combination? We've been working on this for about a year and a half. When you take that long to feel into something, you can really feel into the magic that each of the leaders can bring, and a way to put it together in I'll call it an arc. We build these 24 module programs. They're 8 modules each. So without further ado, I want to unveil this here. This is the first time that we've done this together. So Sister Jenna and I are going to unveil this program, and let me see if we can just pull this up for everybody in an easy way to share it. Voila, there we are. All right, here it is, Living in Awe and Wonder, and discover how experiencing more awe and wonder in your life holds the secret to coming fully alive and healing the planet. So, and isn't that a beautiful mission, where we can become fully alive ourselves, and then we can heal the planet, create this flourishing community and countries and a flourishing world. And so there's a lot I'm going to share about this. It is a one-of-a-kind program, as you can see on the screen. But before I share, I would love to just hear any reflections, thoughts, inspirations that Sister Jenna wants to share, because she and her assistant have been working with us for a long, long time here creating this.
Well, what I would like to share with our audience is there are a lot of online programs available. I know that. And when you choose when you actually sign into this one, I feel like what you're getting is a very, very broad view of expertise that will help you to dive deeper. And I'm sure what you've heard from my conversation with all of you and with Steve is that we're into the tools. We need tools to begin to activate our power as people. And I'm not able to really offer a lot of fluff to people because I don't live that on a personal level. But I'm just asking and inviting everyone that it's time for us to wake up to that call within, that we know that there are things that are needed within our personality to change. Whether you're in a marriage that you just can't be happy in, it's not necessarily your spouse, it could just be you, that you just need to make some shifts. Maybe it's dealing with an aging parent and you've not been as kind as you thought you could be, and it's not their fault. You need to make a personal shift. Maybe it's the way our country is unfolding, whether you're on the left or the right side, but there's still anxiety and there's still judgment or criticism. I need to shift, because if I keep feeding that energy, I've given up the opportunity to live in awe and wonder. And so in the series and the sessions that I offer, I take you through these processes, first to understand the soul, understand God, know how karma works for you, see how we're all connected in this as a cycle, and to see the tree of humanity, actually, that we all belong on this tree, that we're in different parts of the tree. But to also recognize that there are powers in us that need to be used. And when we can use those powers, we will see the result of that. So I feel like this particular webinar is something that I have loved to be a part of. And Stephen and everybody knows I don't have as much energy as these programs ask of you. And I made sure that we could find that time to sit and look at what are the processes of our thoughts, what's going on inside of us at a deeper level, how do I transform the way these thoughts are working in my head and in these relationships around me? If we can heal our thoughts, we can heal the world and we can heal our relationships. So I'm just hoping that you'll find that this was a very useful few moments of your life that you will find the tools that you can apply to be successful and to feel like your wings aren't clipped, that your wings will be clipped.
Yes. Oh, beautiful, Sister Jenna. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit based in the United States. We're a global organization providing transformational education, but we're a nonprofit, so we're aiming in a different way. We're the only global nonprofit in this education space, and we aim at these things that are unique, that other organizations aren't bringing out. Something that is one of a kind, living in awe and wonder, with these three leaders, instructors that are perfect for a program like this. And we've been around. We're blessed. We've been around 17 years. And in 17 years, you can really get to know a lot of the leaders in this ancient wisdom, new thought, new age lightworker space. And these leaders it was such a privilege to plan this with them, and now to be unveiling it with them and to be bringing it to you. It's a very, very special program. So, okay,
Steve, can I
Sister
say
Jenna and I got,
something? Can I
yeah,
say something?
please, yeah.
It's so interesting, everyone. Because Steve and I, in a way, I don't know if Steve knows this, but we have a lot in common. Where he was with those big techie, what, Silicon Valley multimillionaires, and he's waking up feeling, I don't know if this is it for me. I don't know if this is it for me. Steve might not know this, but I used to own two nightclubs back in the day in my 20s in South Beach, Miami. And so where I used to be going to bed, everybody at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I loved doing that. I loved doing my nightclubs. But when that awakening was happening, I think it was at the time too when we had invaded, I think it was Iraq in the 80s somewhere, or in the 90s, early 90s. And I just felt like something in me was like, that's not enough for me to just fulfill what the I, me, and mine wanted. And then I observed the three C's that were depleting me: being critical, complaining, and comparing myself with others. And there was something in me that just says, I can't. And I was just led to the awakening, Steve. And this is how I ended up doing this. And I guess I'm doing my own little nightclub stuff here too. But it's just the intoxication, the intoxicants are wisdom, and the dancing and the celebration is coming from the realizations, and the networks and the people are coming because it's free and everybody's welcome into the space. So, we have a lot in common. And so even though we were doing one thing on one end, making all this money and living all this life, what served the spirit was vital. And I think we answered that. And I think that's what living in awe and wonder will do for you too.
Yes, beautiful. And I didn't know that, Sister Jenna. So thank you for bringing that in. That's beautiful. Yeah. So we were living the American dream, and so many people have misperceptions, honestly, about the American dream. I got to fly on the private jets and go to the private ski resorts and be hobnob with all of the people, Netflix, Reed Hastings, the governor of California. They were in my chapter or the chapter next to me, and they're good people, really good people, actually. These two I'm mentioning, but the lifestyle of the American dream, it's not what people think it is. That's why I'm here. That's why Sister Jenna's here. This is true prosperity. This is real prosperity. So we're going to take you through this Living in Awe and Wonder program. And I'm going to scan this so quickly that I just want to invite you to come. Again, a link will be sent to you, an email. Come back and spend some quality time on this program page, because there's so much here that we're not going to really be able to do this justice during this brief scan. So imagine what your life would be like if you could recapture the sense of wonder and excitement you experienced when you were a child. Most of us can remember those days when we were a child. Every new idea you were exposed to gave you new ways to think about the world and your place in it. Think back to the past 24 hours of your life. How many times did you say or even think an ooh or an ah at something that you saw, touched, tasted, or smelled? And I just want to now contrast that with this dialogue I've been having with Sister Jenna, where I'm sure you can feel into, where there's a lot of oohs and ahs and other energies, I'm sure, that you're feeling into, which is this conscious journey. It's the fruit of this conscious journey, and awe and wonder is part of its basis within us as we're living consciously. So again, I'm not even going to try and read headlines, much less all of this beautiful text which describes this program. Invite you to come back and do that. I'll play this. A very talented person on our team, Tim Noah, created this program. You'll see Sister Jenna, Matthew, and Patricia Cota Robles in it. So it's only 1 minute.
What we lack is not a will to believe, but a will to wonder. Stand still and behold. Stand face to face with the beauty and grandeur of the universe. The divine is everywhere, the radiance is everywhere, but we do have to be still. We have to behold. We ask about the universe. Who could believe it? Who could conceive it? How shall we ever reciprocate for breathing and thinking, for sight and hearing?
This must be what it is like to touch the face of God, humanity's divine birthright. You are a daughter of God, and all that God has is yours.
Your homework assignment is to really go deep into seeing, what are you serving? Soul awareness or body awareness?
Awe and wonder.
Okay, and beautiful. And Sister Jenna, isn't that the question? What are you serving? Body awareness or soul awareness? There's the question. All right, and again, I'm not going to even try and read this. I'll just read actually a couple of bullets at the end. Realize that whatever you do with your body, and even the thoughts that you think, are subtle forms of karma, allowing you to create positive karma and to overcome negative karma. It's what we're giving you a taste of that during this program with Sister Jenna. Understanding the 8 powers present in the soul through which we perform the journey of our life. The power to accommodate, the power to tolerate, the power to pack up, the power to face, the power to discriminate, the power to judge, the power to cooperate, and the power to withdraw. And then the last bullet, practice creating balance between spending time internally and spending time externally, allowing you to experience peace, love, happiness, purity, and bliss in both. And I think we're given, Sister Jenna is giving you a little taste of that here during this program. So now there are 24 modules. The first 8 modules are with Matthew Fox, mysticism and the power of awe, science and awe, natural ecstasies and the experience of God, tactical ecstasies and the reawakening of awe, the wonder of human creativity, the shadow side of human creativity, obstacles to awe, the 7 chakras and the 7 capital sins, justice making, healing, and compassion are the 8 modules from Matthew Fox. And these are 15 to 20 minutes, which is about, in research, all that people can really consume and sponge up during a program. So it's again why we spend so much time creating these things, so we can get all of the most important wisdom into something that's not too long, so that it's a fire hose and it's interesting and powerful, but we lose it because there's just too much there coming at us at one time. Okay, the next 8 modules are with Patricia Cota Robles, the wonder of you, transcending the illusion of failure consciousness. You are powerful beyond your knowing. Reversing the side effects of our human ego. Love is the mightiest force in the universe. There is no such thing as us and them. We are in the midst of unprecedented opportunity. Together, we will co-create a heart-based world. Okay, those are Patricia's 8 modules, and I'm not going to read you Sister Jenna's because I'm here with Sister Jenna. And Sister Jenna, just anything you want to share briefly about these modules, and I'll scroll as you talk.
Just about, I mentioned it earlier on in our conversation before you started to scroll through them, that each of the modules will take you through a step-by-step process of having a deeper understanding of the soul and how it functions. but also how to be able to access the power in your connection to source and how to be responsible for performing actions that will give you a better result. I'm particularly affectionate about the one about soul awareness and body awareness. And we have some handouts and individuals and materials that you can actually download or copy or do a screenshot from your computer when you watch the master classes. So from who am I to connect into the divine, to understanding the law of karma, to the wheel of life, the wheel of the awe of life, how everything is cyclical. So don't give up too quickly because stuff has a way of coming back around. That what Steve had said, the boomerang effect. So if you keep doing good, a lot of good is going to come back to you. So just be patient. And to look at the tree of life, that if God is the seed, then what are we fighting about? You know, that means we're all going to get sustained or we're going to get our share. So the powers that Steve mentioned are some of my favorite. These are going to be real important tools for you to use. You will find guaranteed success when you actually download that sheet of the 8 powers, put it up at your workplace, put it up at home in the kitchen, and you'll find that when something's not going right, you can turn to that power to make it right. And our thoughts, every single thought matters, whether they're of soul awareness or body awareness, every single thought matters. So you just pay attention to the ones that you really want to serve and the ones that will make you a better person. And what I love a lot and what I think is needed now more than ever is that we practice silence every day. In the Brahma Kumaris community, we call it traffic control. In 9,000 branches in 120 countries with over 1 million volunteers, every hour, students pause whatever they're doing with their eyes opened to consider themselves to be peaceful souls, Om Shanti, and then to connect to the source, the ocean of love and peace, and to allow that vibration to spread. Imagine if you do that for 10 hours of the day. Just take 30 seconds every hour in the hour, how your days will end up. You'll start to accumulate a lot of power. And what the world needs now is definitely more silence, not absence of sound. Silence as a vibration of power that will initiate change.
Beautiful. Wow. So there it is. And these are the 8 modules from Sister Jenna. So 24 modules. Wow. Huh? Pretty stunning. And also part of the program are these live mentoring programs where each of them, Sister Jenna, Patricia Coda Robles, and Matthew Fox come in for a live 60-minute mentoring program. This is during, of course, the 8-week program. So you can bring any questions, comments, anything that you want to them. Some people like to use chat. They'll just put their question in the chat window here, and we'll read it to them, and they'll respond. Others like to come on camera and be one-on-one, in this case with Sister Jenna. This is always one of the favorite parts of our programs where people get to interact live with the leaders, instructors. So very cool, which means also, of course, you want to be making note of your questions and comments, things that you want to bring to them during the mentoring sessions. Okay, other things that are part of the program, private Facebook community. So that's allowing people that are going through the program to interact, share questions among themselves, and share really cool things that they're doing relating to awe and wonder. Community is really a powerful and important and fun thing. Now, we do create PDF transcripts for each of the 24 modules. So they're printed out for you. And we create MP3 audios for each of the 24 modules. So that means when you travel, when you're on a plane or in a car or in a hotel room, you can take the program with you. You can also, you've got lifetime access. So you can online, you can access any of the programs and view them whenever you want. But you've got the paper context and the audio context for when you're traveling, especially on things like planes or trains where you can't get online. Okay, now people love bonuses because they create sort of a foundation for the program coming in. So there are lots of bonuses here. The first bonus category is called Living in Awe and Wonder Masterclass Bonus. In the first item that's in this bonus, it's this Healing Our Earth audio series. And in the 4 audios here in this bonus are with Celeste Jacoboni, Steve Behrman, and myself And you can see the 4 audio programs here that are really awesome. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy them immensely. The second item in this bonus category is called A Taste of Oneness. And it includes this video, Sister Jenna's Global Oneness Day Meditation. Extremely powerful. I know you'll love it. Then a video on spirituality and oneness with a panel. You can see Sister Jenna, Diane Williams, Peter Anthony, Patricia Cota-Robles, and Karen Noe are on this panel. And then a video panel, Impulse of the Soul, with Michael Beckwith, Matthew Fox, Lynn McTaggart, Thomas Hubel, and myself. Both of these panels are extraordinary. I know you'll love them. Now, another bonus category is called the Meditations and Musings bonus category for early registration. And in the first item, there's 7 video explorations with Matthew Fox. You can read the 7 video explorations here. Then there's this package called Divine Alchemy. We are becoming crystalline light beings. And it's an ebook and MP3 audios from Patricia Cota-Robles, which again, I think you'll find quite valuable. And then this from Sister Jenna, it's called Your Inner World Audio Meditation Collection. And she has 11 guided meditations here, MP3 guided meditations. So just like the MP3s and the PDFs of the 24 modules, you can take this with you when you travel. I know you'll get a lot out of it. Now, we always create something called a final bonus category that is for those that are present here during the program. So by midnight tomorrow night, this is called an event-only bonus. If you register, so by midnight tomorrow night, then there's this bonus, which is really pretty neat. We've only done this once before. We're actually creating, giving you a second masterclass for free with this masterclass, and it's not just any masterclass. It's the last one that Barbara Marx Hubbard did with us. We created it with her, called Deep Self-Evolution, at the end of 2018, and of course she's transitioned. Deep Self-Evolution, which just distills a lot of her work down into the 7-week digital video master's program. There's way too much here for me to try and fully explain this, so you can see there's a lot. Come back and read about it. The reason we're including this one is it's a nice companion to this Living in Awe and Wonder, where you go through this 7 video series and also the Awe and Wonder video series. It really creates a beautiful context for ourselves really becoming awe and wonder, expressions of it, embodiments of it. So I do invite you to come back, read the whole program page carefully, including what this program is about, because you, I think you will want to get this bonus if you decide to register for this program. So now let's come back to kind of all of what is here. Well, there's, first of all, you can read a lot more about Sister Jenna, Matthew, and Patricia. I'm just going to scroll that. So here's the whole collection all together. So in this Living in Awe and Wonder program, it's $297. So some people want to get a completion certificate, which is $50 more, and there's just some testing involved. But it's a $297 program. We're real excited about that because, you know, again, in this education space, you don't see programs like this that pull leaders together like Sister Jenna, Patricia, and Matthew, with their 8 modules each for a total of 24 modules. The audio collection, which is 24, the PDF transcripts, 24, the live mentoring. These are 3 60-minute programs that are live mentoring. The exclusive membership in our Facebook community where you interact with each other. And then these bonus collections, the Living in Awe and Wonder bonus collection, the Meditations and Musings bonus collection, and then this event-only bonus for those that register by midnight tomorrow night, which is the Deep Self-Evolution program with Barbara Marx Hubbard. So there you have it, $297. We have our 100% money-back guarantee without any questions if you don't love the program. Inside of 10 days, it's an 8-week program. You can just say, I don't love it, and I'm out, and you'll get a full refund. And then again, you can come back and read a little bit more about Sister Jenna, Patricia Cota-Robles, and Matthew Fox. They're amazing. It was a privilege to do this program with them. This is a one-of-a-kind program, which I think you'll, if you've been around the industry, you'll probably agree. So I invite you to come back and read the page, spend some quality time with it, meditate into it, and see if you get the inner yes to come in and join us. And for some of you, you won't. And we're a nonprofit humanities team. We're here to support you in your journey, whether you go on to the masterclass or not. So I just want to say thank you for spending time with us. I'm gonna come over now live to answer questions that you have. And at this time, I want to just thank Sister Jenna for being here with me. It was such a privilege and pleasure. She's doing amazing work in the world. And you are an embodiment of awe and wonder, Sister Jenna. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you. I'll pay you later.
Oh, no, you don't need to. You just keep doing this work because
Thank you.
Hopefully you know about Humanities Team. Also, Sister Jenna, our work, our lives are dedicated to, in this generation, manifesting planetary awakening and flourishing, because there's an existential crisis here. We didn't talk about that during this particular program, but there is. We need to, it's time for us to all become the butterfly. It's our time. So and this program contributes to that.
Thank you.
Sister Jenna's contributing to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this, Steve, and everybody on the Humanities Team. And to all of you out there, as I said earlier, you've got a variety to choose from, but this session and the Awe and Wonder program that we've put together, we guarantee that it will offer you tools, things that you can actually apply and practice to really make some deep internal shifts. And I always remember, because as nonprofits, it takes a lot to keep us going and to pay for staff and to keep expanding programs. So that's just normal. It's a part of the journey. But I've often told people that, if 1 million people donate $5 to a nonprofit, you're going to take away the weight of the visionary to keep that nonprofit moving forward. It's not much. And so what I'm saying is that if we all just come together in whatever way we can, it just becomes easier on everyone, including ourselves. And we're actually helping to bring the planet and everything together. So just don't sit back and just have a thought that it's going to happen. Come into action. Activate those pure feelings. Let those pure feelings bring you onto the stage of the world to be an instrument for transformation. Remember, when you change, the world is going to change. So it's time for America to wake up, and it's time for the world to wake up. So this is our time, awakening the world by changing our lives. So thanks, Steve. Thank you, everybody. It's been great. Many, many blessings.
Beautiful. Thank you. And that is the last word, Sister Jenna. Beautiful. Thank you for bringing that in here at the end. And I'm coming over live now to be with you all. Thanks for being with Sister Jenna and me.